Ladies and gentlemen, the Durham Probe is a special counsel, just like the special counsel they leveled against Trump. Remember Mueller time? Well, this is the Durham Probe. John Durham already put a top bureau official years back in the big house. So he has experience indicting top officials. He's already charged 3 people, a top attorney at a Clinton-linked law firm that helped purchase the Steele dossier on behalf of the DNC and the Clinton campaign. That's according to the Washington Post. Okay, so for the people who believe that, there are certain people that can't imagine Trump being set up by partisan actors within the government. Well, this is according to the Washington Post. That's public record knowledge. He indicted an attorney who pushed a fake and phony story where Trump was allegedly communicating with a bank, Alfa Bank in Russia, through a server. That never happened. We'll get to that in a second. The Washington Examiner article will be below. John Durham says DOJ watchdog slow to hand over info on Alfa Bank investigation. That was just out, and we'll talk about that. But there's a Lawfare article below. How do you solve a problem like John Durham? Yes, it's been going on for a long time. However, there's no time limit. There's a 0 time limit to the Durham Probe special counsel. It's just like the special counsel that went after Trump. That was revered by media and Democrats. Unfortunately, nobody pays attention to the Durham Probe special counsel. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'm going to do 4 segments every day on this channel from here on out, starting February all throughout the year. At least 4. And I'm going to try to fit at least 1 or 2 live streams on this channel. So you'll get 4 segments and 4 segments on the stock market crash channel. I have a video up right now in the stock market crash channel about how the Atlanta Fed, the forecast now, and that link will be below, and we'll talk about that also. The GDP now forecast is 0.1% GDP for the first quarter. We're heading into a recession. Elon Musk and others are right. Jeremy Grantham is right. And I told you in the Federalist, I wrote that the stock market is going to crash and we're going to experience a financial catastrophe. I wrote that last October. But the U.S. economy, the midterms, are tied directly to how many indictments and charges John Durham's special counsel is able to make or, levels against numerous individuals, because he needs the support, number one, of the Republican Party. So you'll have Trump Republicans in the House and the Senate come this November, and they're going to begin their own investigations of Mashed Potato Brains and his son. You can't just lose a laptop with incriminating data. How can you use your influence on behalf of the company, 10% to the big man, and expect no investigations? So those investigations will tie in to the Durham Probe Special Counsel, and the Lawfare article below. Consider for a moment the scope of this investigation. Durham gets to look not merely at whether anyone broke any law in connection with the origin or conduct of the Russia investigation during the campaign, but whether anyone in the Mueller investigation broke any law at any time, a matter about which there has been no public suggestion of any kind. There's definitely been public suggestion. I wrote numerous articles in the Federalist about this. Okay, myself. You can go to my author page in the Federalist. And I also, if you want to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, The Daily Caller, go to hagoodman.com. You can see my debates there as well. It's not just me. There's so many Tom Fitton, John Solomon. I mean, there's Dan Bongino, so many people have talked about a suggestion of people breaking the law. But, okay, quote, Durham can investigate anyone who potentially violated any law that is in any way connected with the investigation of 2016, and that investigation can target Mueller and his staff. This is a Lawfare article. Why am I stressing this article? Hit subscribe to this channel and be here today at around 3:30 p.m. for the live stream on this channel. Please go ahead and share the stock market crash segment below. It's the first thing you'll see in the description section, actually. But hit subscribe there. Let's get to 200,000 subscribers on this channel. The Durham Probe is a special counsel that's ongoing. It has already indicted 3 people. A man named Sussman, who helped foster this Alfa Bank nonsense. He went to the FBI, and apparently, according to the indictment, which I've read on live streams, he duped and deceived the general counsel, legal counsel at the FBI, and my God, they were so innocent and naive, and they thought that he was being a good citizen, so they didn't realize that he was working on behalf of the Clinton campaign in the Democratic Party. They had no clue. So he was indicted and charged with making false statements and lying to the Bureau. Then the Steele subsource was indicted before that. And before that, Kevin Kleinsmith, a Bureau attorney, was indicted for, guess what, lying to FISA judges. They had nothing on Trump, and so they had to fabricate and purchase their own myth. The people who think, all of those pundits on the left, who, and within the Democratic Party and the morally superior, liberal, wonderful people out there, who believed that Trump was installed by the Kremlin, believed in a fantasy, a you-know-what kind of theory. Okay, for the algorithm, we don't have to say certain phrases because, who knows what you can say nowadays, which is also a problem. We're heading towards a recession, which will expedite and probably inadvertently, although it's an unfortunate situation, help the Durham Probe special counsel. People will slowly realize that one political party not only set up and framed Trump, but also pushed to end economic activity, thus causing a Pandora's box of economic problems. Inflation through the roof. About 15% inflation, if it was calculated in the way it was in the early 80s. Not 7%. And almost negative economic growth, according to the Atlanta Fed in the first quarter of this year. Germany, Mexico, Brazil are all either in a recession or heading towards a recession. Other countries are almost there as well. The World Bank revised forecasts downward for economic growth globally. Okay? So this is all happening under Mashed Potato Brains and his merry band of buffoons and imbeciles. Highly educated, by the way. And when there's an economic recession, we're heading towards one, it will completely blindside and, the left. They won't understand what happened. They'll try some way to blame Trump, and it'll be all their fault. By the way, a special congratulations in Hebrew, it's Mazal Tov, to Styx Exenhammer and his lovely wife. He just had a video out, and they're expecting a beautiful baby. So, hey, congratulations, Styx. That's fantastic news. You will make a great dad, and I'm sure your wife and you will make a great father and mother. And congratulations, and that's fantastic news. Mazel tov. We're going into an economic recession. The stock market is going to continue to crash. We're going to get 2,000 to 3,000 point drops. Watch the stock market crash channel below in the pinned comment and the description. The Atlanta Fed, Goldman Sachs, revised its economic growth for the first quarter to 0.5%. That's below in the description. The Durham Probe has already charged 3 people. It's a special counsel just like Mueller. It's going to, unfortunately, take advantage of the negative economic situation we're heading towards, the stock market crash and a recession, in addition to Trump Republicans taking over the House and the Senate, will lead to the special counsel indicting a whole lot more people. That'll probably happen even before November. But the situation in the country is getting worse, unfortunately. I don't want people to lose money. Even if you're the edgiest leftist, I don't want people to lose money. Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000. The Dow will plummet to around 20,000. And I don't want that to happen, but that's what I'm predicting. And what I said in my Federalist article, what I wrote in my Federalist article last October is taking place. Now, you might have some ups and downs, and the market might rebound a tiny bit in the short term. Who knows? It'll eventually plummet sooner than later. When it plummets, you'll see real estate, you'll see bonds and equities tank. You'll see hedge funds go under because of derivatives and margin calls. There's $1 trillion in margin. What does that have to do with the Durham Probe? The Durham Probe is tied to, unfortunately, like I said, the terrible economy we're going to experience. And the Democratic Party and media are going to unravel. The facade is going to be lifted from their all-knowing, morally superior public relations image. People are going to ask, what on earth have these highly educated imbeciles done to us? And they're going to say, you know what? Perhaps we don't like Trump's personality, or perhaps Trump is abrasive, but we had a great economy under Trump. We had record low black and Latino unemployment. We had record low unemployment. We had hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs. And they say, well, manufacturing was suffering. No, the steel CEOs wanted those tariffs. And they knew that initially it wouldn't help them economically, but in the long term, it would help them. Then we pushed for an economic catastrophe because people who were not economists, again, people who were unelected, government bureaucrats who actually weren't experts in the economy. Yeah, they weren't experts, but we revered them, or I should say half the country did. Or I should say median Democrats and mashed potato brains, our president, revered them. Tanked economic activity. And President Trump shouldn't have acquiesced initially. But after a month or two, he said, let's get things back rolling, back on track. And they said, no, it's too soon. Washington Post, too soon. Everybody on the left, too soon. And we have now inflation, a broken supply chain that's not getting better. China has a tremendous real estate bubble. And you have derivatives, an issue related to margin calls, derivatives contracts purchased on margin. This is going to be like 2008. And every Durham Probe segment I do will have an economic, component to it. The Durham Probe you should think of as also you should think of it linked to the midterms and to the economy that's spiraling downwards to you-know-where. Unfortunately, that's how you have to think of it. And again, I don't want people, look, there are a lot of, like anyone who has a YouTube channel or talks about politics or whatever, I have my detractors. I don't want them to lose money. Even people who've lied about me, I don't want them to lose money. Because that's taking food away from their family. No, I don't want them to lose money. But Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000. The Dow is going to plummet down to 20,000. We're heading towards a recession. And you have interest rate hikes about 3 to 4. And guess what? They don't care if Jerome Powell in the Federal Reserve does not care. He does not care if the market crashes. Because the only way Democrats get reelected in 2024 is if they have a foothold on inflation. They won't be able to. Because the supply chain breakdown is too grandiose and terrible. But they need to stop inflation from increasing. Rents are up 40% in many cities. Okay, and then AOC says it's price gouging. Well, no, that's another way of saying that the producer price index is at an all-time high, which is leading to the consumer price index and inflation being at all-time highs or record highs. And consumer sentiment is in the toilet. So it's not price gouging. It's not like these companies, some of them are taking advantage of people, but it's just generally more difficult to do business and more expensive. Because if you make your products elsewhere, it's going to take a long time and far more expensive than ever to get them. And a whole bunch of other issues pertaining to the supply chain breakdown. And all the other issues pertaining to inflation. Food costs are at record highs. So, and this is all the fault of Bernie Sanders, AOC, mashed potato brains, media, Democrats. They pushed to end economic activity to save you. And now we'll get saved in a way that they've perhaps imagined in their warped minds. Meaning that unfortunately, this country is going to suffer economically. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'll be doing a lot of Durham Probe segments, a lot of updates on the Alec Baldwin saga, and a lot of work on my stock market crash channel. Don't be fooled by swings up in the market. Listen to Jeremy Grantham, Michael Burry, Elon Musk. There are many others. Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and a no-name who's a lot poorer than all of them, H.A. Goodman. Make sure to save money. Make sure if you've made money in the market, take some money off the table. Make sure you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of savings, because things are going to get pretty bad. The Durham Probe will continue, and in terms of justice, that will take place eventually, but it's probably going to... The Durham Probe Special Counsel will be going on for well over a year and a half, 2 years. More. Possibly longer than that. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right this second.